no good. Anyway, the 4x2 exhaust fitting, I can now officially call it Saga, because it's more than one part. Right, everything sort of fits lovely, but the mount, be seeing you, the mounting tag on the exhaust is there for a reason. ZZR 1100 Sump has an extra cast bit where the left hand silencer would there'd be a support screw for it, and that's what that tag's for. It also has an oil switch in the different position than the ZX10, and I've now found out why. Tried refitting it, put the tag behind the sump where it would normally sit on a ZZR 1100, and yeah, it'd fit, but it wouldn't fit. Rob pointed out that the only difference he could see between the ZZR 1100 sump and the ZX10 is the extra bit of cast, and also the oil switch was in a different position. Now we know why. Guess what? The exhaust fouls on, and it's not just a question of fouling it. The option of running it would be nil, because it's touching the wiring for, and it's screw on sensor. Oh god, he's took the fucking sump off. But this is the ZX10 sump, and this is probably the first time it's been dropped since the bike come off the production line. Excuse the mess. I do have a drain pan, but it's a little full. This is why cardboard's down, because you can drop as much crap as you like on it and then just burn it. I mean, get rid of it responsibly at your local recyclers. Burn it. So yeah, so this is the first look inside the sump for perhaps this bike's life, and you know, we'll see what it's like. I'm just going to turn you off for a moment because I need to get some blue tissue. Interesting to note, this is how the sump bolts came out. Shorty one side, long the one side. That is factory thread lock, thread seal, whatever you want to call it. I think when the plan is now we need a ZZR 11. Can I borrow your teeth? We need a ZZR 1100 sump. They're plentiful, and I think on the ZZR 11 the front like oil cooler, there's a line that goes up to the top of the head as well. I think instead of that being, I think that's mounted differently. This is nothing that can't be overcome. We like giving you everything. Yes, I'll just put you down for a sextant, and then I'll get some blue. We'll have a look in here because they're interesting. In the gore strap appears to be crap. I'm guessing, with the age of the bike, that is the O-ring for the gauze trap, and over the years it's just gone, don't like it. So we'll see in a minute. Some blue towel, and now I'm going to take that gauze trap out, but if we have a look inside, like I say, this is more than likely the first time this sump's ever been off. This gunge it's left behind is absolutely perfectly normal. What we don't want to see is any sparkly bits, and you probably can't pick them up on camera, but I can see that there is none. But I think we've definitely got an O-ring gone, because down there, look, I think that's rubber. That's rubber. So the question is, where has that come from? Oil strainer and all that. I can't see what you're seeing now until I get my fat head underneath. So that's the oil pickup. That's the underneath. Lovely. I'll have a look in a minute. Hopefully you weren't shocked. So we have had an O-ring go. So I don't know. The only O-ring that was missing on the bike was the old behind the alternator, which is an oil seal. So whether that degraded and actually got in, not beyond the realms of possibility. Investigation continues. Case file X39493 Rich Tea Biscuits. The most boring biscuit. The only thing that worries me is all these if you can see them. There's going to be a few more in there, no doubt. Oh no, have got it? Possibly. I don't know, stop fucking about. Are of a uniform length. They're not, obviously. The thing I'm thinking at the minute, worst case scenario, kid, is if they're all equal length, what do we know on a motorcycle that's small, cylindrical and of equal length? I'll give you a clue. There's loads of them in your suspension. What there is on a vintage Kawasaki. I'm hoping that isn't a roller bearing. There's no sparklers. There's nothing to suggest the bearing's gone, and I still think that's rubber. But it just got me thinking, they're all equal length, they're all cylindrical, so it was either chopped up the same. I'm going to do that again, I enjoyed that. Hand action, warning. Chopped up the same. And it's an O-ring, which I believe it is because of the shit in the gauze. We've got to investigate where that O-ring came from. There's every likelihood the one on the back of the alternator probably just degraded, gone into the engine, got chewed up by the gears, ended up there. The only way of knowing for sure, and I'm not going to do it. Oh, you always say you're not going to do it and you end up doing it. I know, but I'm not going to do it this time. Talking to yourself is the first sign of madness, is it? You cheated Scrabble, do a fuck. Is looking inside the engine. That's the obvious thing. The next best thing, look at a parts schematic on something like Kawasaki and look to see where a similar size O-ring would be. But I think it's O-ring. Anyway, I'm going to start cleaning this up. We're not going to reuse this sump because we need a ZZR 1100 sump. That now we know, because the oil pressure sensor is in the wrong place on a ZX10. So good spot, Mr. Rob, you're dead right. The manifold for the exhaust, downpipes, whatever you want to call it, fouls the oil sensor on a ZX10. So, logical step, stick a ZZR 1100 sump on. They're plentiful, probably about 30 quid. Might have to get a couple of different oil lines. I've already ordered one set for the oil cooler, but I did notice there's slightly different arrangement, so we might have them. We might get some nice ones made up, because I'm starting to think Nibbler's a keeper. The good thing about this is this looks a bit serious, but if you're changing your exhaust, you've got to drop the radiator, hand action, you've got to drop the oil cooler, so then you've got access to all the bottom of the engine, so you can clean it up if you want. Yeah, foreign word to me, as you can see. Yeah, I am not responsible for the majority of this crap. This is just the age of the bike. So if you're doing the conversion, you need to fit the ZZR 1100 sump. This is no biggie. Just, you know, remember how the bolts went, which I shall take photographic, pornographic evidence of, and then it's just a case of fitting the ZZR 1100 sump, re-anneal all the banjos and all that lot, and the internals, everything else spot on. In fact, the ZZR 11 sump is very, 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 very similar to this. It's just like it's got the extra cast bit to support the silencer, and the oil pressure switch, which is our Achilles heel here, is in a different location to miss the silencer. So it looks bad, but it's all good. But yeah, once I saw the bike with the two exhausts on, that did it for me. That's how they should be. That's what attracted me to ZZR 1100s and stuff like that, is that from the back they were symmetrical, and I like that. I don't like lopsided exhaust system. If the bike's only designed to have one, fair enough, but I've always liked twin systems. I just think they make them look really beefy. Yeah, so, right, I think I'm going to leave it there, because I can't do anything more. I'm going to have my ollie bobs, and then we'll there's loads of ZZR 1100 sumps out there, tons of them. So we won't have a problem finding it. The gasket is exactly the same as the ZX10, and like I say, may have to get an oil line, but if I'm going this far into it with all the rad removed and all this lot, I might get a set of silicone coolant hoses as well, because the original hoses and all that lot, they're good for cooling, for carrying coolant and all that lot, but rubber generally is not good with oil, as in rubber hoses. If you've got an older car with intake hoses and stuff like that from superchargers, turbos and all that lot, they all go squishy because interaction with oil. Generally, if you take a lot of the time, if you take a car into a garage and you've had a blown head gasket and oil and coolant have mixed, they will basically recommend replacing all the coolant hoses as well because of oil contamination. So anyway guys, we'll leave it there, but more arsery later.